Josh, top crucial, critical question, breaking news. Are you Joshua now?
Yes, I am. I was officially Joshua when I cut my hair because I had the long hair and all that stuff. I cut it, and I just wanted to be formal, Joshua Luis Fuentes, and then I had a homer that day, so of course, yeah, I gotta stick with it. So I'm Joshua.
Okay. I don't mean to like drag this out, but that's what you prefer, like in print, obviously.
It
Do you, yeah. What about like in person? Can I call you Josh, or would you prefer Joshua? It doesn't matter to me, obviously. I don't.
um no, in person, I guess whatever comes to your head. I can't get mad at you for calling me Josh, but I told the people. Well, I told the media on the scoreboard, and when they announced, I want Joshua. So, but whatever you prefer, or whatever comes to your head.
Okay. Well, I mean, no, I mean it's whatever you prefer, but it's what I just mean is probably a hard habit to break. If I call you Josh, no disrespect.
If you call me Josh, I won't hold it against you.
Okay. Do you mind if I'm nosy about this? Like, what did it? Was this like something that your mom wanted, maybe, or something? What?
No, I just thought I needed a change. I don't know. Baseball's so superstitious, and whether it works or not. If you feel good, then it works. So I was just kind of like, hey, I cut my hair. I got all the bad vibes out. Let's change something else. Let's go with Joshua, and then I started getting some hits, and that was the end of that. And I'm like, okay, I'm Joshua. I'm full out. I'm gonna change everything.
Okay, yeah, no, right on. What how are you feeling at the plate? I mean, you had like a double streak going that was like pretty impressive, and I mean, it seems like you're on top of things. What is it like for you at the plate right now?
Yeah, for me, it's I'm not. Like I said this before, a long time ago. I'm not really, pressing too much at the plate. I'm just kind of taking what the pitcher gives me, and just doing what I know I can do. I'm not getting super frustrated after every time I get out. I'm just kind of living in the moment, and trying to be as free as I can, and honestly, trying to just try to have fun. Um, I know I'm a lot better when I'm having fun, when I'm smiling, when I'm joking around. I'm just trying to do that, and at the plate, I'm just keep it simple, man. Get on time, and try to hit some hard, and thank the good Lord that's been happening.
So Buddy talked about this, and Trevor did too a little bit. Like some of the changes, maybe that they wanted to see more on this road trip, team wise, not for you, but team wise. Um, I mean, like this. I mean, I know, like last night obviously was a tough pitching matchup, but it seems like the plate approach for the team is better. Am I jumping too soon? I mean, it's just 2 games now, but what do you think of the team approach?
No, we actually we got together as a team before the road trip, and we're like, hey, this is we obviously have a problem on the road, and we have a problem seeing spin and chasing, and and obviously the ball moves a little different when you're outside of Coors, but we got on the field Monday, and we saw Machine on the field, and that's one of the things we want to do. Like, hey, we're gonna see Machine on the field. We're gonna get used to this early, and we're not gonna wait till game 3 to be like, oh, I can finally see spin, or I can finally see that velo. So obviously yesterday was tough. I don't think we saw a ball under 97. Every guy out of the pen, and obviously DeGrom was throwing Chet, but you're right. I thought our bats were great. Obviously Mac had a great at bat. B-Rod had 2 hits against DeGrom, and that's not easy against those guys. So, we want to get better as a team, and I think a lot of us are finally we're taking that step, and we're willing to realize what we're doing wrong, and trying to fix it.
So, like with the BP, is it a thing where you just kind of have to do it until you feel right? And like, are you gonna? I mean, is it something like you think that you're gonna do every game of a road trip, or I mean, at some point, like you could probably tax yourself a little too much, I imagine. Like, but
yeah, there's always a fine line between extra work and too much work, of course. But for us, I think we kind of was like, hey, at least the first game of every road trip, at a new park. We're going to Pittsburgh in 2 days. We'll do Machine and all that stuff in Pittsburgh. So I think it's knowing that right balance. But you got to see spin, and of course that's just something we have to adjust to, and not know the team that does that except for us. So we have to do that. But yeah, you have to sacrifice being a little tired and especially traveling, but it's what you got to do.
One last one, because Mags was talking about this last spring, about how, as far as trying to boost some road numbers with this team, and to as a way to force pitchers into the zone, it might be necessary to be less aggressive at Coors Field, just so that you can make the transition on the road. And again, I don't mean you, I mean the team. But just so you sort of hone in on the zone, because the pitch breaks and stuff are so different in and out of Denver. But if his sort of theory was that being more patient at home, even if it meant fewer hits, that it might actually help on the road overall. Does that make sense? Do you?
Yeah, I think the one thing I can think about that is like, at home we get a lot more blue pits, because the outfield is way back, and I know me personally, sometimes I extend the zone or expand the zone and I get hits like that. And on the road, you don't normally get hits like that. Guys are playing normal. They're not playing so deep. But I don't know. When you're in the box, I don't think you think about that stuff, man. You're only thinking about competing and hitting the ball. So if guys can think about that and somehow, correlate that to the road, I mean, good for them. But I know for me and for most guys, it doesn't. You're just up there hitting the ball, man. It's not that much thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was kind of trying to get at. So yeah, curious. Thank you.
No problem.
Patrick?
Hi, Joshua. You mentioned about your name. You were telling Nick about, are you a superstitious person? A really superstitious person? And if so, can you share a couple of your other routines that, like, do you eat chicken before every game like Wade Boggs? Or
I wouldn't say I'm a super superstitious person. Maybe just a little stitious. No, but for me with the hair and the name, it was kind of like, obviously I wasn't doing that well in April, and I was like, well, if I continue to do the same thing, I'm gonna get the same results. So I gotta switch it up somehow. And I have my things like, I have like a little journal I write in every day, a little gratitude journal that my girlfriend got me on. That's been helping me a lot. So it's not so much superstitious. It's just things to kind of get my mind right. For me, it's always been mental, man. It's always been, can I mentally lock in? Can I mentally stay there and, not get crazy with my approach and all that stuff. So I think for me, it's just little daily reminders of how to stay locked in. I have my routines, but, if I don't do certain, if I don't eat chicken or whatever, or do something like that, or take a shower at I don't really look into too much of that stuff.
No, and not last name, but what's your girlfriend's first name?
AJ.
What is it?
AJ.
AJ, like the initials AJ? Awesome. Hey, how good was DeGrom, or how good is DeGrom?
Yeah, he's obviously elite, man. And what's crazy is he really only has, obviously he's got that changeup, but he only throws that fastball slider most of the time, and guys knows it's coming, and he still can't really square it up, man. And the fact that he's always consistently fastball, he doesn't mix in too much, and his ERA is still under 1, and he's still getting strikeouts. I think that's what makes him even more elite for sure.
Okay, and one more from me, Joshua. About the pitching machine, which shows you guys the spin. Can you give us just a little bit of detail? Where is it set up? I don't imagine it's not 60 feet 6 inches from the mound, is it? Can you just give us a sense of where it's set up and what does it show you?
Yeah, it's set up. Yeah, it's just before the mound. So whatever, 57 feet, 55 feet. It just shows you that break, that spin. So the first time you're seeing a spin from Coors to New York or San Diego or San Francisco, it obviously breaks more. It's scientifically proven that it breaks more. So you're not seeing it for the first time in the second inning with man on third and second. So you're prepared for that. You've seen it before the game. So when it's second inning, third and second, you're like, okay, I've seen how much it's going to break, and for the most part, you're not too surprised. So I think it's just getting your eyes used to it and knowing, you know, where it has to start for it to be a strike and all that stuff.
Do they set the machine for curveball and slider? So
Yeah,
you get a little bit of both?
yeah. So Monday we did all three. We did, you know, a couple rounds of sliders, a couple rounds of lefty curveballs, and then a couple rounds of just you know, heaters at the top. So, you know, you got to see everything. And I think, you know, most teams, they do that. And I think that's the easiest way to simulate how these guys are throwing, man. These pitchers these days, they're unbelievable. They're absolutely unbelievable. So the machine is the best way to emulate that.
Yeah, and for you guys have the distinct disadvantage of home park versus road, which no other team deals with to the extent that you guys do.
Yeah, and especially these days where, you know, yeah, every pitcher has a spin rate of 3,000 on sliders, and it's incredible. So yeah, I think most people overlook that, the fact that we have to deal with that. You know, I know I harp on this a lot, but it kind of gets me frustrated. Like people are always talking about Coors effect, and I think recently it's been negative. You know, you get your bloops hits, but the ballpark's huge, and we have to deal with that road adversity. So you know, we have a lot of things that we got to work on, and you know, we can't have an excuse. You know, we still got to play ball. Nobody's feeling sorry for us, so we just got to do our best to kind of even that out.
Right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Owen?
Yeah, you answered one of my questions, I think just now, Joshua, about the spin machine, but it sounds like it can do a better job than a batting practice pitcher at letting you see that spin. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just, you know, the game's changing, and everyone's seen that. You know, batting practice is great to kind of feel your swing and to kind of lace some balls and get that barrel, but you know, it's still batting practice and it's still slow, and and these guys are throwing way too hard to be seen that. So, you know, for us, you know, guys will take BP or guys will do a machine and they'll take BP off, and I think you're seeing more of that in the league. That guys take BP off because not that it doesn't do anything. It's just it's such a different type of ball that you're seeing, you know, from the game. So, and right now it has to be game like almost every time you're hitting. So that's what we try to do.
And you referenced the 3,000 spin rate that pitchers have these days. Can the machine emulate that?
Yeah, we have the machine is literally called the spinball machine. So it gets up there.
Oh, okay. And you're swinging against it, right? I mean, you're not just looking at it; you're swinging, right?
No, yeah, we're taking. I mean, you know, right before the game, you got pretty much everyone in the starting lineup is waiting on that machine, trying to get that feel, you know. So, you know, we got Stroman today, and you know, he's got a good slider, good sinker. I don't think we can do the machine sinker, but I'm sure we'll work on that slider, and we'll try to get it right.
And in your experience with the Rockies, has this phenomenon been addressed before? You know, I mean, just the home away issue, has it been addressed before, or is this a first, or the most effective that you've seen so far, or where does that lie?
Yeah, you know, growing up, being brought up in the Rockies organization, you always hear that, you know, oh, they can't hit on the road, they can't do this, they can't do that. So yeah, it's always been there. You know, it's always been a problem, whatever if you want to call it a problem. But you know, you just have to find ways to combat that. And I think for us is the machine. But at the end of the day, you know, it is what it is, man. You know, we're coming from Coors, and you got to adjust. So yeah, you know, we always hear it, and you know, you hear it in the media all the time and all that stuff, which is great. But you know, we're working hard to try to balance it out, man. But yeah, you know, I've been hearing it since I got drafted from the Rockies.
But is this the first time that the Rockies have instituted, you know, something to actually address that?
Oh, no, I don't think so. You know, obviously I've only been with the big league team for, you know, a year or whatever, a year and a half. But no, I think there's always been that machine. I think maybe maybe this year machine on the field made a little difference for sure. I know guys always used to hit machine in the cages, but yeah, I guess machine on the field is we only played 2 games and we had to face a Grom last night, but I think it's helping. Like someone said before, our bats look a lot better the past 2 nights. So yeah, I think machine on the field is for me it's new up here, and I think it's definitely helping, at least in the beginning.
And then lastly, just to get back to the superstitions, can you name a few superstitions you see other players that they embrace and that you either have thought like maybe I ought to try that, or no way, I'm going there?
Well, I look at guys like Chuck. I wouldn't say it's superstitious, but man, I don't know. I'm trying to think right now. I know Story always he goes into the weight room with his headphones on and he takes practice swings. I don't really see superstitious around here. I just see guys doing stuff to prepare for the game, and that's what I look at most. Whatever helps you get ready for the game, whether it's swinging, whether it's for me doing a journal, whether it's listening to music or whatever. I think that's what guys do. So not so much superstitious. I don't see guys like burning incense on bats or like hanging out their underwear or anything like that. So I think it's just more getting focused and locked in the game.
All right, thanks a lot, Joshua.
Yep.
Last two will go Mark and Thomas.
Hey, I got a couple things I'd like your reaction to, Joshua. First of all, Joshua tonight is about to play his 100th big league game. Were you aware of that? And if not, how does that hit you?
I was not aware of that. 100th. That's pretty special considering I didn't think I was ever gonna get one to get 100. That's pretty awesome. I gotta tell my mom that. She'll love that for sure. Thank you for telling me that.
Joshua, I have another thing to tell you. You can tell your mom. Through your first 99 games, you've hit 268 with 41 runs, 49 ribbies, 17 doubles, and 9 homers. There's a guy that you know well, your cousin. I want to tell you his numbers through his first 99 games. 267, 35 runs, 41 ribbies, same amount of homers, 9, 20 doubles. That's how you compare to Nolan, bro.
That's pretty good. It's when you put it in perspective like that, it's always great because guys love to compare you, like, Nolan and Josh, and they love to put a stamp on you right away and tell me those numbers is great. It kind of reminds me how young I am in this game and how far I have to go in this game. So that's nice to know, man. I'm working my way up. Nolan wasn't hitting 340 with 40 homers his first year either. So it's nice to know that.
It's just a cool comparison, man. Proud of you. Enjoy tonight.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, last questions from Thomas.
Yes, Joshua. Sorry, I missed a couple things early on, so I hope I don't repeat. But first, when it comes to hitting with that machine on the field, I just wanted to make sure: is it set to just curveball, slider, whatever, or is it set to the exact specification of the guy that you're going to face that particular night?
Yeah, I think it depends. Like on Monday, we had some of the starting guys that were hitting later, and they wanted to see obviously lefty curveball because we were facing Peterson that night. So I think for the guys who aren't playing that day, it just whatever you want. So slider, fastball. But if you're starting and you have a specific request, like we did, we're like, hey, let's see a left-handed curveball coming from here, dropping all the way down. So our hitting coaches are, they're there for us. So whatever we want. But yeah, I like specifically to do what the pitcher is throwing or what he has that night.
Okay, I'm old enough to remember once upon a time that, especially in the minor leagues, batting practice was live, meaning the pitcher on his bullpen day was out there throwing live pitches at guys. One of the reasons why teams went away from it was, does the hitter really want to strike out in batting practice before going into a game? So if you're facing something to Marcus Stroman, do you feel like you need to go in also and get some, regular BP speed stuff just to get the feel of success? Or how do you balance, not having your machine throw you into a slump or, ruin the confidence before the game begins?
Yeah, that's a really good point. For me personally, with one of my hitting coaches, TD, I like it. He gets really close to me and he throws really hard. And for the most part, I'm pretty late. And I guess you can say right there, that might diminish your confidence in the game. But for me, it's all about the work. And I think if you're training at a high speed and high velocity, whether you're knocking out of the park or not, you're getting yourself ready for the game. And I think in the game, you can't think about really anything. You just got to go. So I like having, I would actually love pitchers that pitch to me like back in the day. I don't think it's the confidence. I think you're just ready to go. And BP, you're gonna have confidence. You don't have to have BP to have confidence. You can just go in the cage or hit off the tee and be like, okay, I'm crushing balls. So for me, it's always been that game like mentality. Whether I'm hitting balls or not, it's just seeing that speed and just reacting instead of trying to feel everything out.
Okay. One of the things I also want to ask you, watching Ryan McMahon, whether it's second base or third base, and you've seen Gold Glove winners before. Is he a Gold Glove type fielder? Or if someone were to say, give me your best argument for Ryan McMahon to get a Gold Glove at one of his positions, what would you say?
I think if Ryan had one position, like second base, I don't see why he couldn't win a Gold Glove. Obviously you have Wong there who's won it a bunch of times, but you guys, he's been playing some great second base and third base too. The thing about our team is, we have guys move around so much that it's kind of tough to get that many, plays or that many innings at one position. But Mac's playing a lot of second, and he's been making some really good plays, man. So, if he stayed there all year, and I don't see why not.
Do you think that maybe at some point, maybe the Gold Glove needs to find a way to get these multi-position guys to get one?
Like a little utility Gold Glove?
Yeah, like a utility or multi-position Gold Glove, because the game is getting more positionless year by year.
Yeah, it really is, man. It's it's almost like you have to be established all-star to play your position, but guys have to earn that. And I think on our team, we guys have to earn that every day playing time. But yeah, that's actually a great idea, because I play third, I'll play first, and it kind of stinks because one of my goals is to win a Gold Glove, but when you're splitting that time, it's hard to win a Gold Glove. But yeah, I like that idea a lot. Little utility Gold Glove guy.
All right. Hey, listen, thank you. I really appreciate